Hey VC, what's going on? Back in for another video. I was trying to get a video out to you guys yesterday, but just after work I was very tired, so really didn't feel like it, unfortunately. Uh, I'm posting this today, so usually I schedule my videos to post like on the weekend, but I think now with this one, I'm just gonna post it straight away and hopefully you guys enjoy it. But yeah, just got some more recent finds here, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. First up, we have Birth Control live, and Birth Control is one of my favorite krautrock bands. I don't have anything else by them. This is the only record I have by them. This one released in 1974. It's a European press, and very happy to get this off eBay in the States because this actually did not ever release in the United States. But yeah, it's that CBS inner sleeve. Figured I'd keep that with it. But yeah, just such a good heavy krautrock band. So good. And this was a really good read over here. Like, I never knew much about the band, honestly, but very interesting for sure. And it's cool they got the description or bio, whatever, in German, and they have it here in English, which is cool to me, which doesn't even make sense. But yeah, it's really good. It's a double LP, and very, very long tracks on each side. It's like 2 tracks per side, I believe, maybe 1 actually on some. But yeah, The Work Is Done is definitely the standout for me. Gamma Ray too. The Work Is Done is like my favorite song by this band. Just super heavy. But yeah, definitely check that one out. Next up we have the 5 Stair Steps. Stair Steps is what the album is called. Yeah, just, I don't want to say essential, but just really good funk and soul right here. The one song that everyone probably knows from them would be Ooh Child. Just, that's a really good soul track. It was in Guardians of the Galaxy, if anyone, that's probably what you'd recognize it for, if not from just being a killer hit single from back in the day. But yeah, Ooh Child's really good. Who Do You Belong To? And they do some like Beatles covers, which are actually pretty decent. I'm not usually fond of Beatles covers usually, but theirs are actually solid. But yeah, this isn't the best copy of this. The sleeve's pretty beat up, like it's taped a good bit on the ends and stuff like that. And disc, I'm not even gonna take it out, but it's on Buddha. But yeah, the disc is pretty it's like maybe VG, but it plays pretty decently. Definitely need to get a upgrade copy of this, but solid for sure. Okay, next up we have Magic's self-titled record from 1971. This came out on Rare Earth Records, and honestly, I wasn't really too blown away by this one. It had some moments for sure. Yeah, nothing really stood out to me. Might need another listen, honestly, which I'll definitely give it before I consider selling it. But this is a white label promo, which is pretty cool. It's kind of got like a classic rock, maybe a little psych, maybe, and then like a funky kind of vibe to it. From the cover, like you'd think this would be super psych, just like psyched out, but I don't know. It's not really. It kind of disappointed me in that realm because I went in expecting like a very like psychedelic record, but honestly, it really isn't. But yeah, it is on Rare Earth, and one thing I did find super cool about this copy is just the Rare Earth inner sleeve that it comes with. I mean, just look at all the cool records, like Love Sculpture, The Pretty Things, Toe Fat, another Pretty Things record. Power of Zeus, like, come on, man. Lost Nation, Paradise Lost, like, it's insane how many cool albums they're featuring on this inner sleeve, and like, oh, and they're all on the back here too, like, Such a cool inner sleeve. I love it. I've never really seen a rare earth inner sleeve before, from what I remember. But yeah, that's a really cool one for sure. Next up, we have "Giving It Back" by the Isley Brothers. I got a pretty decent deal on this. You know, it's on T-Neck, like I believe all their records are. Maybe not their later ones, but all the ones I'm looking for are on T-Neck. Just a subsidiary of Buddha. It's like a VG copy. It plays pretty well. It does have like a warp, but the warp doesn't affect play or anything. Doesn't cause any skipping or whatnot. Sleeve's a little messed up. I got it for like, I think I've paid $5 for this. So I was like, yeah, why not? Couldn't really find anything at this antique store that I went to anyway. So I was like, yeah, I'll pick up on it. Can't go wrong with the Isley Brothers. But yeah, you know, 1971. The title track, well, no, yeah, the beginning track on the album, Ohio, a Neil Young cover, and then they transition into a Machine Gun by Hendrix, and oh my gosh, it is what you buy this record for. Those opening tracks right there, like it's those are killer right there. The rest of the album's pretty decent, funk and soul, but those two tracks on the opening, oh my gosh, just amazing, soulful, funky stuff. Well, and the guitar work on it's really cool too, like at Machine Gun, like it's a good one for sure. Okay, next up we have Fly By Night by Rush. Some more, you know, well-known band, obviously. I don't really need to explain to you who they are. But yeah, 1975 Mercury. This is an original 1975 pressing, which I've been dying to get my hands on for a while. I had a 80s press before on like the black and red Mercury label, and then I had like newer reissue that I had for a good bit that I got for Christmas one year. But yeah, this one is just it's one of my favorite Rush records. It's hard to pick a favorite, honestly. I'm still looking out there for their self-titled, but you know, Anthem starts out the album. Amazing track. Rivendell, Best I Can. And yeah, just happy to have an original of this album. Very decent copy of it as well. So, and I got it for a pretty decent deal too. You know, I didn't pay how much they go for on Discogs, which I'm very happy about, because I really did not want to do that. Because, you know, it's a Rush. Like, it can't be that hard to get for like 15-20 bucks. So, finally did, and I'm happy to add it to the collection. Next up, we have The Cure. Not going to say the album cover name. I don't know how sensitive it would be for YouTube or whatnot, but yeah, just probably one of my favorite records by them. Super good, 1982. It's like new wave, goth rock type stuff. A little different from what I usually listen to. I don't usually listen to really much 80s and much new wave to begin with, but I'm trying to get into it, and obviously this is one of the essential new wave records from what I know. Would love to get a copy of Disintegration, but that one goes for a lot more than this one does. I was fortunate enough to get this for like 20 bucks off eBay, which is pretty good. This one's cool too. It's one of those copies where like if you hold it up to light, it looks like dark brown, like gold brownish type color, which is pretty cool. But yeah, just it's got like a very dystopian vibe to it, you know. And yeah, I definitely need to pick up on more of their stuff. Don't really have much else to say about this one, but cool find for sure. Next up we have Lightning, self-titled, from 1970, and I've been looking for this for a very long time and did not want to spend like 30 or over bucks on it, so finally got it for like 20 bucks. Very happy about that. It was from the same seller on eBay who I got the Fly By Night from, which is really cool. But yeah, just super good heavy psychedelic rock, you know, kind of maybe a little edging on the hard rock end, but not so much, I'd say. More stays in the heavy psych, you know, maybe a little blues, like some blues rock type stuff. But yeah, still good nonetheless. And that cover, like, you can't beat it. It's unfortunate it's a little water damage, but it's such a cool cover. Like, I don't know, it makes it look like it should be like some like hundreds of dollar like private press type record or something, but it's not. It's on a Pickwick subsidiary, Hip Records. But yeah, it's really, really good. Name some tracks for you here. Prelude to Opus 4. Yeah, it's what the album opens with, and it's super, super good. Freedom is Life Worth Living. And then they do a cover of Ghost Riders in the Sky, which is a pretty cool cover, especially in this type of tone, you know, like psychedelic, heavy psychedelic. Like, it honestly works pretty well. Like, it's surprising how well it works, but it's really cool that they do a cover like that nonetheless. But yeah, super happy to finally get a copy of this. Next up we have My War by Black Flag. This is an original 1984 pressing. Yeah, I really, really, really like Black Flag, you know, Henry Rollins stuff. Just love that stuff. I don't really have many records by them. I'm really trying to get originals of them. My gateway into them was Slip It In. Got like that red cover, whatnot, with the nun on it. I got like a reissue of that at my local record store, and the guitar was just crazy and a mess, and it was super heavy, and it was like, okay, yeah, I definitely need to check out more of their stuff. And I don't know, this might have one of their most well-known songs in general, just My War. Like, that's a pretty well-known one, I think, by them. It's so good. I mean, it's a killer track. But yeah, just ripping guitar all throughout. The Swinging Man, Nothing Left Inside are other two tracks that I really, really like. But yeah, I got a really good deal on this off eBay. Like, I guess the seller probably didn't know it was an original and whatnot. It can be kind of sort of hard to tell originals from represses unless you look at like the Matrix run out, which I assume a lot of people on eBay just don't do when they're selling records. But yeah, super, super happy to have an original of this. It's pretty crazy that I do, but yeah. Next up we have Overdose by Lumbee. It's pretty decent, like heavy psych record. Very, very trippy, very, very drugged out, which is the whole point of this album. It originally came with a board game that you'd like put out, and like basically you just ended up doing a lot of drugs after doing it, or you just do a lot of drugs while you're playing it. That's essentially the name of the game with this album. But it's pretty it's interesting for sure. This one doesn't have the board game, unfortunately. I assume it's kind of tough to find the board game with it. Same with Feel Like I'm Fixing to Die by Country Joe and the Fish. Like, finding the board games with these albums, I assume are kind of tough, and it definitely makes them more valuable for sure. I was lucky enough to get this for like $12 off Discogs because it did not have the inserts and board game and whatnot. But it's a decent disc, no doubt. He said it was VG. It's more like VG Plus, you know. Maybe low in VG Plus, I'd say. It's got some light scuffs. But pretty decent album. Whole World's Down on Me is probably my favorite song off the album. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about this one. Like I said, it's pretty like stoned out, drugged out. So I mean, like some of the stuff on it is like kind of you know, but a lot of it's pretty solid. So, and imagine playing the board game while listening to this. Like I can't even imagine. That'd be wild. But yeah, cool album nonetheless. Next up we have The Bends by Radiohead, and I don't know, I feel like a lot of the albums I'm showing in this video are kind of different from what I typically show. But yeah, that's just because a lot of the albums that I'm showing are kind of very hard to find, and I don't want reissues of them, but you know, when I find originals or early pressings of them, like, gotta show them off. But yeah, this is like a late 90s, early 2000s repress of this. It's a UK. And people were raving about how good it sounds, and I can't agree with them. It does sound quite good. And considering how much UK pressing, original UKs go for, there's no way I'm ever going to own one of those. But the fact that I own this, it's pretty cool. It's for like $30 off eBay. The seller in question just didn't know what pressing it was in particular, so that's why. This one is pretty sought after on Discogs, and probably my favorite Radiohead album in general. Now that I say that, I haven't really listened to like a majority of their discography, so that's probably why this is my favorite by them. I know people love OK Computer or whatnot, but this one in particular I just absolutely love. Nice Dream is probably my favorite. The Bends, Black Star, just really, really good alternative rock here. Essential, if you ask me, but yeah, just super, super good. And I mean, if you haven't heard of Radiohead, I mean, either you're just not interested whatsoever, or I don't know. So yeah, this is a good album to start with, I'd say. It's their second one. Their first one kind of has a different vibe for sure, like a little more, I'd say that was a little more raw and punky. Definitely a different sound from all the stuff that followed. But yeah, I mean, they had their one hits song on that album, Creep, and that kind of put them on the map to go on to make some of the like best alternative rock music in the genre. So, I mean, you can argue with me about that, but they're just so well known and they were so influential and iconic for the genre. I mean, it's kind of hard not to call them that. But yeah, super, super good. Glad to keep that in the collection. Okay, now moving on to more stuff that I typically show off. This is a Tangerine Zoo, their self-titled record from 1968. Just really good psychedelic garage rock. There's only a couple duds on this album, I'd say, but yeah, there's some really good songs on this, and I'm really happy to own it. Got this for a very good deal on eBay. I'd say The Flight is probably my favorite song on the album. Just really good Psych. Nature's Children, Symphonic Psych. Yeah, this copy in particular has a good bit of surface noise. It's a garage rock LP from the 60s. It's gonna be kind of hard to find clean copies of, especially for a good price. But you know, it still plays pretty decently, no skips or whatnot. But good album for sure. Check it out if you don't already know about it. Alright, so now we're getting down to the last three albums here. Just get here in my notes. Next up we have Pieces of a Man by Scott Heron. And yeah, this is not an original, so don't get too excited. It's a 1974 repress, but this originally released in 1971, and those go for a lot more than this one. But this one's still, you still gotta pay a good bit to get this one, and I got a fantastic deal on this one. I guess I'll say it. I know some people like hearing it and some people don't. I paid $10 for this. It was off eBay. It's from a seller, I think from Texas. It's got some staining on it. Don't really know what. Coffee maybe. Some peeling on the opening. Just, you know, general like wear in general. General wear in general, yeah. But yeah, and then the label's a little stained or whatever. But yeah, the disc is like a strong VG+. Not a copy that should have went for $10. But yeah, this is really, really good. Revolution Will Not Be Televised. People will look to that song as like the first like rap like / hip hop song, which I can see. Like he's kind of going off on that track. Yeah, but yeah, Lady Day and John Coltrane's easily my favorite song on the album. Very good soul, funky stuff, and A Sign of the Ages is also really good. But yeah, insanely happy to have a copy of this. Didn't think I'd get this anytime soon, you know. Anything on the Flying Dutchman label is like usually very, very good. I'm looking for Astral Traveling by Lonnie Liston Smith. That's also on this label. I found a empty sleeve of it in this one lot of records that me and my friend bought at this yard sale. And I was really hoping that it'd have the disc in it, but nope. Unfortunately not. So trying to track down like just a disc only copy of that So maybe one day I'll get it, maybe not. Maybe I'll just find another copy. But yeah, good funky soul stuff, and gotta love it. Next up we have Miles Davis, Kinda Blue. And yes, this is an original 1959 stereo pressing on the Columbia 6i. Got this for a really good deal off eBay again. Again, I was on a roll with eBay. What can I say? But I've just been on a roll with eBay. I don't know why. It's like stuff pops up, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm never gonna see it for that good of a deal. You know, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, this is, yeah, to my surprise when I got this, like the sleeve, obviously it's got like that general age wear that you'd see on these copies. Good bit of wear, you know, but to my surprise when I cleaned this disc, like it is like a very, very strong VG plus. Like, what the hell? I don't know. I don't understand it, but yeah. And for the price I got this at, which it wasn't anything like insane, not like $20 or anything. I think it was like 40 or 60, but for what I paid for it, like, oh my gosh. In that good of condition, like that's a crazy deal. But yeah, one of the most iconic jazz records of all time. No getting by that. And that lineup, like, I mean, that's why. I mean, Cannonball Adderley, Paul Chambers, James Cobb, John Coltrane, Bill Evans, Wynton Kelly. Just, wow. There's no reason that an album like this should exist with that good of a lineup. But, yeah, I mean, starts out with, So What. Favorite track on the album is probably All Blues. And then Flamenco Sketches is also really good, too. So, yeah, yeah, definitely check this out if you haven't heard about it, because it is so good. And, you know, if you're trying to get into jazz, like, definitely start with this. This is the one to start with for sure. I believe it's how I started. I might have started with Dave Brubeck, honestly, which is another solid choice. But this one's also a very, very solid choice. And you can get reissues of this. Like, there's some decent reissues out there that you can get for like 20 bucks and under. Just definitely one to get and check out and add to your collection, and to just jump into the whole jazz genre, you know, because it's a wonderful thing for sure. Okay, for my final record, I am more than happy that I own a copy of this now, because it is amazing and it is very hard to come by. But yeah, I'll just show it to you. Don't want to leave you in suspense. It is It'll All Work Out in Boomland by T2. Original copy on that Blue London label. It's released in 1970. And just super good, great, progressive, bluesy, hard rock. There's only like 4 tracks on this album, maybe 5. It's got some long ones on it for sure. But yeah, there's the members right there. We got Bernard Jenks, Peter Dunton, Keith Cross. These guys made some fantastic music, and yeah, there is 4 tracks on it. The second side has 1 song on it. It's called Morning, and it's 21 minutes long. And yeah, definitely probably the standout track on this album, but they're all so good I can't really pick a standout. No More White Horses is also really good. That clocks in at 8 minutes. But yeah, so happy to find a copy of this. If you don't know about it and you're into that heavy progressive stuff, definitely check this out. It's one to look out for sure. And it's one that's very sought after. It's hard to find. I mean, if you look on Discogs, like, none are for sale, unless it's changed since I added this to my collection. And hardly none pop up on eBay, even for ridiculous prices, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, just super happy to find a copy of this, and was not expecting to find one, especially at the price that I got it at, because it was a steal for sure. But yeah, very, very happy to find a copy of this, and definitely check it out. It's probably going on the turntable after this video, so Yeah, so good. But alright guys, that about wraps it up for this video. I'm very psyched for a lot of the stuff that I got in this stack here. Apologies if I feel like I'm very low energy today or whatnot. I like woke up not too long ago. But yeah, don't let my mellowness deceive you, because I am very, very stoked to get all of these records, especially the T2, well, all of them. I was on a roll in this, like, batch of records that I found. I don't know, eBay was just treating me nicely. A couple were from, I mean, like, a few were from the antique stores, but, yeah, eBay was just treating me very nicely, and I just couldn't pass them up at the time. And, yeah, it was a lucky couple weeks, months, I don't know, something like that, for sure. But, yeah, look out for a video with me and Soren Vinyl in the future, because once he comes back from school, I believe we're going to be making a video. Won't spoil what it's going to be about, but there will be a video with us in it. Yeah, so that'll be fun. Hopefully I can get another one out to you tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Yeah, next week. You know, probably showing off more recent finds, because I still have a good bit to show off. But yeah, guys, just take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.